All right. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Doc here from North America. Let's see how the sound is this morning. TGIM. Thank goodness it's Monday. In this case here, it's a closed day. Only thing we have opened is the electronic market. Everything else is relatively closed for the holiday. And that's always drives me crazy with the technical analysis because of that. So we won't be really updating any of our fact check spreadsheet until Wednesday, I guess, at this point. I mean, we'll do it Tuesday at the close and see if it adjusts itself out. Sometimes charts don't adjust right. Somehow or another, the programmers don't seem to compensate for the holidays very well. You can see they mess up for the Sunday night every so often, also. And so you can see here strength in the Swiss. We can see, or in this case here, the Swiss is going up in value. So obviously it's losing. Let's see. Let me try this again. Swiss is going up in price, so it's losing value. There we go. And that means the dollar is getting stronger. So we see this type of action here. Again, the United States has the banks are closed and the exchanges are closed, but the electronic market is open to satisfy the world and anybody that needs it, that type of thing. So that's where we are right now. It's like a 3-day weekend. Traders, when given the chance, will take the 3-day weekend, trust me. And you can see over here on the J4X, same situation, where the white line is holding up along the dotted gold line here. And it keeps on trying to find ways to go up in value, just like our work does there. I keep on hearing dings. What is that? Who's dinging me? Well, maybe that's it right there. Okay. So the best way to describe today is a nothing day. We're going to see some weird action, not counting the presidential stuff that goes on constantly until it finally is resolved. And that is a big thing right there. But we just chased the markets. I think we saw Canadian. Oh, let's do this. We'll go over to the euro. The euro slid into the weekly sell there last week. You can see that on. Oh, we didn't put the line in there. Let's put that line in. Right there. So it's in the weekly sell now. Let's see, where can we modify that line? There's the dot. So we go like this. Double click on it, that. Make it pink. Make it solid. And there it is. Weekly sell. And you can see we've been in a daily sell for days upon days. It tried to stall out, but didn't seem to succeed. Let's take a look at it over on the J4X. Right there. And see how that looks. And you can see that's the pressure that's been building. It's been gliding in that direction over and over and over again. So we'll just, watch it march up and see what happens. But at this point in time, it doesn't look like it's doing anything but just a sloppy sideways action, waiting for the crazy to finish in Washington D.C. And that's I guess in some ways the crazy to begin in Washington D.C. Boy, a Biden's administration is going to be entertaining if nothing else. I was impressed. I saw him talk for 10 minutes about 5 or 6 days ago. I didn't think he could do 10 minutes. I don't know how he's going to do the national address that goes on for 45 minutes to an hour. He may just literally lay down on the floor for a while with his thumb in his mouth. But we'll see. It'll be entertaining, like I said, in many different ways. Now you can see that is the slide of the euro. Let's check out the cable. Cable did slide into a daily sell there yesterday, or on Friday, that is. There it is right there on line 13. You see 14 weeks in a buy, but one day in a sell, whereas euro you can see is 1 week in a sell now and 6 days in a sell. So that pressure is on the product. We keep on thinking that it wants to try to climb up into the 28s, I guess. Let's put it up on Chicago Quant at the same time. 38s, I'm sorry. We keep on thinking it wants to climb up in the 38s, but you can see this weakness from Friday's close. And it's still weakening. Now the time manifold is being challenged a little bit here. We'll see if it bounces off of it this week or breaks down and it goes into a weekly sell. And that could be interesting in its own right. Also, there is talk of, this morning I saw they were talking about stopping the lockdown in March. So was it? We're in the middle of January, so 6 more weeks of it. It kind of sounds like Groundhog Day. Let's see, Groundhog Day is what, the second, right? First or second? Here in the United States. We all gather, drinking our adult beverages, thinking that a groundhog who sees its shadow is going to inform us what the rest of the winter is going to look like. Something like that. Whoop, what did we do there? We blew something up, didn't we? Just move it up like that. Just leave it down, I guess. Yeah, it's better like that. There we are. So there's the euro. I'm sorry, the cable matching the euro action, trying to head down. We'll see if that becomes a low and it makes a turn up. But the dollar is getting stronger. And I did see some headlines over the weekend. They were talking about the idea, wow, how about that? What are they going to do about the increasing cost of borrowing? You know, in other words, that it's starting to sink in a little bit. We'll see. I mean, we're seeing gas prices here in the States climb now for the last, ever since the election. So I guess we're going to stop pumping as much oil and we're going to start pumping out more bonds. I guess that's how it plays. All right, let's take a look at Turkish lira. Quiet day. I guess everybody's doing their Martin Luther King thing. There it is. And there's Turkish lira. It did close in a buy on Friday. Okay, cool. Where's it right there? There it is. Shows you the buy right there, but 5 weeks in a sell. So it's been gliding down for, well, since here, basically. And we'll see how they play this thing out. We had our first nice sell right there. And it gave it a good dodge down. This is after they changed the political situations in the country there. We'll see. You know, I don't know if, you know, if the Turkish lira really, let's take a look at it on J4X. It's a better way of describing it. I don't know if it has enough energy in any direction at this point, the Turkish lira. It just seems to meander and, you know, just trying to stay out of its own way. But do I really think, you know, like looking back at it through J4X, you know, that looks more like an ABC, and it, you know, it may climb back up into the 8s and then just bounce between the 8s and the 7s for a while. And then I guess it's kind of like the Missouri statement we always make here in the United States. The show me state. Missouri, that's what they call it, the show me state. Well, we'll just wait and see if we get more, I guess, positive political resolutions to the economics in that country. And I guess that's how it always plays out. So we'll just keep an eye on that, see how it plays. Let's see. So let's widen that out again. So we go from Turkish lira over to Canadian. I think that closed in a buy. Right there. Let's put it up on Chicago Quant too at the same time. We'll bounce back and forth. Yeah, closed in the buy on Friday. Let's see if it's on there. It's line 20, right? Yeah. But it's 9 weeks in a sell. So it's kind of nowhere. If we contract that a little bit, that's where it went into the sell up in here for the weekly trend. And then let's check it out on J4X. You know, it's trying to lift up there too. You can see the white line has pierced. I don't know what they're going to do with it. Let's see what the manifold looks like. Okay, yeah, look how close that is. Maybe they're going to get some legs. You know, oil is going... Was it going down? Last I saw it was going down. Oop, there goes the mouse. One of the mice. Come here, mouse. I see where... Let's take a quick look at... let's see if we can find it here. There's Bitcoin. Bitcoin's showing some life in it again this morning. Perking up after going down last night. But let's look at crude oil. Yeah, crude oil is lifting up also. Crude oil has a look like it's trying to show some life in it. We'll see. I don't, like I said, we'll see is the biggie now. We'll watch and see what they give us. You know, we have to watch the quant and what it does. We can't tell the markets what to do. They tell us all the time. I see people filling in slow and steadily. 3-day weekend for some of you. For the farmers, no. Nope, that's a 24/7. Feed those cows, milk those cows. Well, most of the farmers in here, I think, that have cows or cattle, so I don't have to milk them. Let's see. What else can we say about crude? I guess that it's trying to lift back up. It didn't go into a sell. And what else can we say about it? I guess that's about it. Let's save that. Let's go through the. Since no one seems to be asking any questions, why don't we do this? We'll go through the complexes. So there's crude. We got that done. So now let's go take a look at natural gas. It's kind of flirting with the sell constantly. Let's give it a refresh and see. Yep, just constantly pressing down in a daily. But look at that weekly. The weekly just seems to want to lift up. Maybe there's a surprise coming around the corner with that type of bounce. I mean, when's the last time we saw something like that bounce in a sell like that? Let's see. Not here. There's one right there. It wasn't a buy. It was the tail end, and then it just kind of lifted up one more time to go into that, and then went into the sell back in October. So that's a good question mark. What's going on with the natural gas? But the complex seems to be holding up very well there. Now, let's save that, and there's natural gas. Then let's drift over to the gas oil they use for automobiles right there. You see the pressures on that last couple of days. Let's give it a refresh. Well, that wiped it out. Data comes in and pushes it right back up again. I guess that's why there's no little red line in there from Friday. So that is holding up. And then let's go over to the bean oil. That's the last of the four that we look at when it comes to the oil complex. Let's see how that's holding up. Bean oil, you can burn it. You can put it in your machine if you play with it enough. You're doing the right things with it. And there it is right there, bean oil. Now, why has that got a red? It should be removed. Let's give it a refresh. And it's up. So it's not down, but look at, like I said, price action, but somewhere along Friday they must have put a down. This must have been down, you know, so it was generated that red, but now it's out of it again. It's and it is down in price today. That's Friday. They're not trading this today. None of this is being traded today. So we're just going to save this. And that's the last of the oil sector, I guess, the way we look at the oil sector itself. And bean oil is trying to hold up. Well, it's in a weekly, so it's not letting go, that's for sure. All right, now we can go over to the metals complex. That's what we see. We looked at Canadian. We didn't look at, heard really strange things about New Zealand, but nothing seemed to play out. Let's just take a quick look at the NASCAD. Isn't that right there? There's NASCAD. NASCAD has been working its way down. Let's just give it a refresh, but pretty much updated. Yeah, it's been working its way down. Now it's playing with the weekly sell signal. I heard they had some issues there, but it doesn't seem to reflect it too much in the marketplace at the moment, you know, for their currency. And so now we drift over to the metals. Let's see what the metals are up to. And I don't think we really have anything that is analogized to the currencies versus that, except for the dollar itself or the pairs trades. In other words, they move up and down. And you can see here's gold. And gold has been flirting, trying to get into a sell, or I guess get into a buy, but it had the red dot there on Friday. And then, let's see, and then today, they had it up at one point, and now it's rolling over again. So it's still in that daily sell from here. And it tried to get into the weekly sell, and as you can see there, plot 1 was 0.00, and plot 4 was 0.00, so it was on a 0. And now it's pushing down again here on a Monday holiday. So the pressure is on there, on that, on the downside. Let's see, let's go like that and then save that. Now, I saw silver this morning. Silver had me like, oh, that's wild. Silver is trying to, went into the buy on Friday. It's fighting gloriously to stay up. It looks like it dropped a whole dollar last night, and now it's bounced back up. It's still in the weekly sell, and it's been hanging tight in that weekly buy or daily buy with no appreciation in value. It has to be up at like 26 to, really show some value to it. So you can't be long from this, and you can't be short because of this. It's stuck in neutral. Remember, traders, we always look at things three ways: long, short, or neutral. They're all legitimate positions. There we are, especially for producers. Let's see. Now, let's save that too. Now let's take a look at platinum, or like I like to call it, the Yellen spread. Mrs. Yellen will be the Secretary of Treasury, so that's always entertaining. You can see here in a daily buy from in here, because of the increase on that situation at the close of that, I guess it was. That's what it was. And then we're in a weekly buy, so it's been holding up pretty well there. And where's gold again? Let's just double check gold. And gold is trading at 1832, and platinum is trading at, let's go back to platinum again there. The April platinum is trading at 1,083. So we're really looking at a spread of about, was that $800 now? I think that's how it is, about $800, 750 bucks, something like that, $750. So it's $250 off of its widest spread between the pairs. Now let's go back there and save it. Platinum. File save. There we are. And let's see. That's let's see. So we need to do copper. Copper is interesting. I did look at that this morning. I was really curious, and it is up. Let's give it a refresh again. But I think that's about as updated as it's going to be. And they're doing something in the electronic market there, and you can see it's trying to get back into the daily buy, and it's holding by a thread in the weekly. It's trying. You can see the time manifold's been breached by the green line, and the histogram is getting shorter and shorter, and we'll see how that all rolls. But that is Feb copper. Feb copper? I guess we're going to have to start thinking about moving that soon too. All right, and let's save that too at the same time. And remember, it's a holiday. It's not, you can't take too much of this serious. Don't build positions off of this stuff. Just use it to save yourself out of a position more than anything else. And so that's the metals complex. And I guess if we really, we can go over and we can look at the indices. Let's see what the indices are doing. So in other words, like the NASDAQ, which was down this morning, has fought its way back up. That's the Tech 100 on J4X. Let's show you it there. Right there. Tech 100. It is flirting, trying to lift up. You can see our, what do we got going on here? Look at the way that time manifold just tightened up to the point where it hit each other. It was like smack, smack. Almost hit zero. It was 2.08, so it was like 4 points wide, 416 wide altogether. Very close compared to some of the others. And other events, like it happened there, and we had that nice run. And now we're going into sells. Wonder if we're seeing any potential here for a breakdown. With the central banks controlling the markets now, I mean, how much are they going to really let this thing fall? They'll let it fall orderly so buyers can come in. As I blow my nose. No virus. But overall, looks like there's some little pressure here. Well, it's at all-time high, so someone's got to take a profit. And let's save that. and that is probably more of the reason it's selling is because it's at all-time highs, and someone's got to take some profits. If you don't take some profits, next time you're selling is when you're taking losses. So let's see, NQs, where are they? That is the Tech 100 on Dukascopy. And then there is the S&P 500. It's being a little less parsnickety or aggressive. You can see here, weekly buy also, no problem. Daily sell here, kind of again quiet. That is today's action. And let's see, what else can we say about that? The time manifold is getting tighter. And that's the S&P 500 there that's on Dukascopy, which is right above. Oh, you can't see that. Let me go like that. Oop. Move that down. There it is right there. So, oh, there we go. Vince P. Hi. What are the indicators on J4X? Here, I'll show you. The white line edit indicator is this one right here. And it correlates with our math about 68 to 70% of the time. And then the purple, not the purple, the gold dotted is a slow stochastic versus the last one was a fast stochastic. You see the numbers here. And then the purple is the CCI. And we run a 14 bar on that. You look at the outputs and so forth. With 3 levels, advance, showing you indicator as in all periods. All right. I hope that helps you out. They're good tools. Oh, and on the bars themselves, it is the Hinky Ashki. Right there. See that? And that kind of lags, but it does emulate our dots pretty well. That has something like an 80%, 84% correlation to our dots. But problem is that it's a lagging indicator, so a lot of times it can go red and I can be green for 8 hours or 12 hours, and then it turns green. But if you don't have anything and you're only tuning into the webinar through Dukascopy every day, at least you have this type of tool. You can emulate that. I hope that Vince P. I hope that helped you out. And so you can see here, what is that? That's the S&P 500. Now let's go over to the Russell 2000. Give that a refresh. And you can see there, move that over like that. That's the Russell, March Russell. You see it's holding up very well. This is penny stocks and small cap companies and things like that. This is a very, the weakest of the companies. But you know what? In this time right now, they're buying them like there's no tomorrow. Because these companies, one of them will be a jackpot. So they're stepping up and buying some of them. When the Democrats have the White House and the Senate and the Congress, usually they pass legislation that benefits these little companies that have no assets. And this way they can make money. This is how the congressional people and so forth become multimillionaires on a salary of $170,000 a year. They have the information that, what do they call that? Like educated information that something successful is going to happen to the company because they're changing legislation. And they buy the company beforehand, then they pass the legislation, and then they sell the stock out. And it's documented. That is not fake news. That's real. It's documented all the time. But, when it comes to the Democrats doing it, it's okay because they care about the people. And obviously nobody else does. There we are. Now, the last of the indices we look at is the Dow Jones Industrial Average right there. You see it's been a little sideways-ish, and it's in a daily sell for a couple days. There we are. Oh, there goes VP says, Vince says, thank you. Stochastics and CCR are on one indicator. Yeah, I call that the Albert function. It's called being relative. We measure them against each other. Yes, exactly. We make them gladiate. Exactly. No, we call it the Albert Einstein for relativity, but a lot of times the reason why the word relative was described about Mr. Einstein was because of his living arrangements. So that was the laugh of the day there at given times. Because his original paper is called "Moving Objects on a Electromagnetic Field." There's nothing about relative there at all. So, but somehow or another they made a joke out of him at the Planck Institute or Heisenberg or someone did, and next thing you know, they called him the relative guy because it was like relative his odd arrangements at the time. Let's see. So now let's save the Dow Jones Industrial Average. There it is. So you can see all four indices flirting, I guess you could call it. You know, all of them are in weekly buys. Two of them are really strong in their weekly buys, and two are flirting, heading in the opposite direction, as you can see with the NASDAQ trying to go into a sell, and the S&P 500 doing it not as aggressively as the NASDAQ, but they're all at all-time high area, all four of them, and so they're holding up very well here. Thank you, Doc. Will you see how? We'll see how it works for me on a chart. Well, just remember, you know, you're watching. Here, let's go back to J4X so we can give you a couple hints on how to utilize it. First of all, I want to just emphasize over again, the Hinky-ASCII is a delayed indicator. It's not a leading indicator. Now, all these are considered delayed indicators, I'm sorry, not delayed, lagging indicators. Lagging, not delayed. But the thing is that when you measure them against each other, they become leading indicators. In other words, they're ahead of all other indicators. And so you can see here, this is seeing a lot of pressure on the downside. What is this? This product is this is the Tech 100. And so you can see that's pressing down. Now let's take a look at the S&P 500 in it. And same situation's going on. You know, it's breaking down from here, and we're seeing the sell in there. And then when we go to the S&P 500 here, you can see we've been in a daily sell for 3 days also. That's that thing where the white line pierces the dotted line. Okay? So just pop back in any one of these shows every day, and we'll help you out with that. But they're a good tool. When you don't have any tool or, you know, something to trust, this is some of the best. So let's see. Where else do we go here? Now, let's see, what do? Let's go to, we did the stock indices, we did the metals, and we did the energies. Let's take a look at the two interest rates that we follow, and we looked at the Bitcoin. So we've done everybody in here, but the Bitcoin, we did the Bitcoin, we looked at Bitcoin. Bitcoin is trying to perk back up again. So we're just going to save that like that. Just give it a refresh again. And you know, it's again about $5,000 or $6,000 off its all-time highs, which is not a big thing with that product. Anything is possible. It can, you know, make a dash in all kinds of great directions. And then we can see the 10-year. Here's the 10-year bond. The interest rates, as this price goes up, interest rates go down, and you can see it. It had interest rates were rising for the last couple weeks. And then last week they jumped up and seem to be holding up at the moment. You know, you can see the weekly is still in the weekly sell here, but you can see the daily has been, you know, basically frozen in this range, and that's got some, as they call them, the bond vigilantes concerned. So let's save that. And I'm not even sure if we send these out today. I think I'll ask Robin if we should or not. And then what do we have here is then there's the 30-year. Same situation in the weekly sell. We should make that weekly sell line thinner so you can see the white going through it at the same time. So you can see there, it went into the sell there, but it had already, you know, went into the daily sell here, and they've knocked it down. Now the 30-year doesn't seem to be lifting up as well. It has perked like the 10-year, but the 30-year seems to be parked down here more. So we're seeing some more pressure. It did get into the daily buy. Oh, that's wrong there. It's just a red dot, so we have to move it over one like that. Got into the daily buy there, but it's not going anywhere. And this just means interest rates are locked in a tight range at the moment. And again, people start to become concerned about the bond vigilantes. What are they going to do? And remember, at one time, currencies moved on interest rates. So it's important to understand what the direction of interest rates are. Now, it's kind of hard at the same time as I say that there's 17 trillion, not billion, not million, but with a T, trillion, invested in zero to minus bonds at the moment in equities, or not equities, but they're considered an equity. Bonds, interest rate products. So $17 trillion of assets on the planet Earth are invested in something that gives no return anymore, and they just park. So it really makes you think. What's really going on there? It's kind of weird, huh? How do you stay in business if you constantly are institutionally losing money? Who's giving them all that money? Does central banks give all these banks and funds money to utilize? And I guess they go and buy the bonds. So it's a real insider's game at this point when it comes to the whole marketplace is run by the central banks. There are funds and institutions that lend money and give it out, but they're getting money from the Federal Reserve or some central bank of theirs, and so the world is all in debt at this point. Massive debt, and it's hard to believe, but relatively wise, there's that relative thing again, that the U.S. is one of the least in debt, which is awful hard to believe. But we don't exactly know what strategy the governments are using, the central banks are using. So we can only see the physical action, and sometimes it makes it very clear that they have trading ranges and channels and all kinds of things going on there. Now, what's up with that? Let's just give that a reload. There we are. So that's what's really the freak out of it all. Is that double of them? No, that's one right there. Let's move that over. So that's what the problem is that we don't really know what the banks are trying to pull. We just don't know. And I don't mean the local bank. I'm talking about the Federal Reserve and the central banks of the different countries. The world is flooded with enormous amounts of equity, but we don't see a lot of lending, and we don't see a lot of growth from it, and we don't see a lot of inflation from it. And so one of the only visual ways of seeing inflation is by looking at these two particular bonds, because they actually yield a return. I think the return on the 10-year is, let me give you the official yield of the 10-year. Let's see. We'll find it in a second for you. It's under trading here somewhere. Let's see. Pre-markets. There it is. And it'll show us the yield. Let's see what we got here. Bonds. Okay, there we are. So the 10-year bond is a yield of 1.087 right now, and the 30-year bond is yielding 1.839 as we speak. So that's pretty good. When you think about the rest of the world, is like in the 5-year in the United States is yielding at 4.52. In fact, I should move this up onto the screen. Let's do this. Let's move this up onto the screen, and we'll show it to you what we're talking about here. So there's a 10-year. It's yielding 1.087% interest. The 30-year, that's the ZB, is yielding 1.839 or almost 84. The 5-year is a half a percentage point basically, and the 2-year is yielding an eighth or an eighth or what's that? That's 30 seconds. I guess it's in 30 seconds at that point. So 30 seconds, maybe something like that. Then the 3-month is even plus. Then you go to the Bund, and the Bund is minus in yield. Right there. The yen, they made a policy change about 9 months ago where they are now going to pay interest. So, and the UK is also a plus. So, and then I guess the Bund and the ECB are the same in the sense of yield. Let me see. They're not reflecting any EC yield at the moment, but they are showing you the German bond. The German bond is trading at a minus, so you have to pay to own the thing. And then I'm not sure why we're not. I wonder if we can go into bonds. See what bonds do. UK bonds. Okay, so the 5-year is minus yield, 2-year is minus yield, the 10-year is a plus, and the 30-year is a plus. And then they show the German, all of them are minus. Now where is the ECB? Why are they hiding the ECB? Because I understand that's all just, minus. And same thing with the Swiss. I don't think the Swiss pay any interest also. They're on minus also. So, oh, here we go. We have the different countries we can put up there. UK, Germany, Italy, France. Let's see what France is doing. All minuses. Oh no. 20 years yielding about 17.30 seconds. You see, it just changed. It's showing action. And less than a half percentage point for the 30-year. And then, let's see. Australia, Japan. These are for the credit swaps. Let's see if we can get more on there. I'm not sure why they're not giving us the Swiss ones or the ECBs, but the ECB's got a lot of bonds going on. I guess they like to hide that. Don't want to make it look too stupid. See what Italy looks like. Minus all the way to where? 8-year. Oh, that's interesting. So the 30-year is 1.5%. And the all the way to the, where is it at? The 5-year goes plus for them. So that's France, that's Italy, there's Germany. Where is like Switzerland and, let's see what Treasury say. If I hit swaps, let's see what swaps say. So there's Canadian, I guess, are they showing us some swaps here? I guess that's what they are, is the battle between, that's what the banks used to play. The swaps. So that's pretty much where we are when it comes to the interest rate. And so it's well worth thinking about and watching, because that's, that's an important thing to the currencies on some level. Now let's go over to let's see, let's take a look at this. We can do let's take a look at the grains, because anything that is dollar denominated is going to be influenced. Now I'm not even sure what's going on with that. Let's try reloading that. Now why is it stuck on the 14th all of a sudden? Let's see, settings. Let's cancel that and try to move it down a little bit. Oop. Move that down a little bit. Maybe it'll help us. Let's see, right there. Where's the default? I'm going to see what that does. If it fixes it. Yep, it fixes it. And so there's, that's the 14th again. Now the 15th was Friday. Now why is it reflecting just the 14th? I don't understand that. Let's just take a look at what we sent out on Friday, just to get a flavor of it, if nothing else. Let's see, right there. And let's put it up there, right there. Yeah, there's Friday, right there. And, yeah, see the 15th. So it was heading down. I think the holiday messes a lot of these charts up. I think the best charts you could watch is the idea that, let's see, let's just get rid of that. And then let's just take a look at some of the other grains that allegedly trade normally. So now that one's showing a 15th, that's what it is. And let me just see what the setting is. That's on the 24/7. So what we're really looking at here is that these things are not trading at all. They're not trading the grains today at all. So there's not much of a reason to send them out to anybody. Wanted to just point out we did put some type. We published what, hogs was it, or cattle? I think it was cattle, and it did close in that weekly sell. At least what is that? That's now. Now I'm confused altogether. Now it's back up again, and I noted I sent this over to Robin. Let's do a refresh on this. On Friday, it had pushed itself into the sell. You can see the plot 6, but plot 4 should be minus. And I know that I have a picture of that. Let's just show you. Let's see right there, cattle. Yeah, see how the little green line is below on Friday. As far as we're concerned, there's just weakness in there. You know, it's playing the range. It's been stuck in this 5 to 10 area to a great extent for 2 months. We've been in a weekly buy since here. You know, it's been, the dailies have been much more insightful than the weekly with this particular product. You know, it's very volatile. I looked over to the chat line. I still like Vince P's Gladiator fame. Russell Crowe. Yes, it's more like the relative thing. But anyway, that is good. They do battle. We used to start web. The reason why it draws me is we used to call it Algo Wars. When I first started doing webinars with Dukascopy, we referred to it as Algo Wars. Algorithmic wars battling with each other. 2 indexes. 2 algorithms battling with each other. I used to say that all the time. 2 algorithms battling with each other. And that's pretty much it. And then we developed something for J4X. And I actually ran the contest. You not ran it, but I had one running in the contest that did that. It did a combination of the candlestick instead of the Hinky-Ashi and the slow stochastic versus the fast or something like that I had in there. And I came in first, second, and third a lot. I don't think I ever finished first, but I was in first a lot of times, even up to like 3 hours before the end of it. And then I won seconds and thirds and eights and fours and so forth. And so it is an interesting way of measuring things against each other. So that is about the best we can say about that. We'll just get rid of that there. Let's see what Wheaties did. Wheaties, I think, was kind of neat. Wheat tried to put some life into it, stayed in the weekly buy, and I guess now that's got that. But I guess it's the red wheat. Let's see what the red wheat looks like right there. Red wheat held up into the daily buy. That's what that was. So the 3 grains have been really strong, and then hogs are really strong, right? They jumped up on Friday, and we're in a weekly buy, and now the hogs have tried to act like they want to make a run for it at the same time. So it has been very interesting. You know, it just has. It's a good product, you know. The hogs and the meats and the grains, and they've been really great products to trade this year. Our algorithm, you know, always is insightful, but this year, because they've just kept on climbing and threw away the fundamentals, it's been even more of an interesting direction of things to be, you know. Let's see, what else can we look at here? Oh, feeders, the young ones that turn into hamburger when they get big and old. Old is like under 2 years old. And in this case here, you can see it's trying to lift up, but it was a red and a green. Let's give it a refresh and load. And that is Friday, so we'll see what they do tomorrow. Or they will start trading this tomorrow. They don't trade this throughout the day today. And then I guess that's about it. That's the action of it all. Let's open that and see what beans are doing. There is beans on the 12th. So we can get rid of that. We'll give it a refresh. They obviously stopped trading the beans at that point. So that's gone. Let's see what, let's go down to the next one. There is the bean oil. That's just doing the 14th. So might as well get rid of that. That's Jan. And then last but not least, there is the March. Oh wait a minute, that's March meal. Where'd the Jan meal go? So we got 2 March meals up there. I guess so. Let's activate that and see it. So we can get rid of that since we must have deleted that one. Activate and just get rid of so we don't have duplicates like that. There we are. And so there's our meal right there. You know, the grains have been wonderful. I don't think I can say that enough times. It's been fascinating. All right, let's jump over to where? Right, traders, you have anything else you would like to see? Any currencies in particular? You know, see what currencies are out there. I guess we've looked at the majors. Anybody have a minor currency you'd like to see? It is a slow day, isn't it? Let's see what the if you're not interested in any particular currency at the moment. Let's take a look at what are they doing to the stock markets. Nope, that's not right there. There it is. So you can see the Tech 100 on Dukascopy is holding up well there. There we are. And that's the S&P 500. It's trying to break down again. This is trying to hold up. And you can see that's, today. And then you can see the Russell very low in action since last night. Very thin. Trying to roll over also at the same time. Is that the Russell? No, that's Euro GBP. And that's the 1 hour. There it is. And so there's the Russell doing the same thing, showing just a little weakness in there. But not breaking down yet. Remember, this is an intraday, so this is just dailies. I keep on hearing dings, but I'm not sure what that's all about. Trying to find something else to go through, especially on a holiday. It's so tough. So that's probably like the most action that's going on right now. Let's take a look at the euro on an intraday action. Oh, there's the Nifty 50 too. That's kind of cool. We've just started paying attention to that. They went into a daily sell 3 days back also. And that's Friday's close, but it's still in its weekly buy. We'll see how this week starts out. And then, where's it at? There's the Euro GBP. I guess we were looking at that on an hourly basis. Let's take a look at Euro, since the Euro has the Euro against the dollar. See how that looks on an hourly basis. There it is. So it's just been on an hourly basis. Went into the sell up in here in the 121.52 area. It stayed in the sell until, was that the 121? So it went into the buy at the 120.83 area. So is that 17 and so that's 69, almost 70 points down. So that went that away, right there, and then it what did it do? Went into a buy there from the volatility signal, the previous one. Then it went into a sell here and stayed in a sell because red dot, green dot, volatility signal, and red dot. So even with this a plus, it's still telling us from here, it's back into the sell and made another new low from the last 24 hours. And so that's where we are with the euro against the dollar. Hey, Robin. Now, the only thing we're really getting anything that's changed is in the stock indices and gold and silver and all that stuff. I've saved them. I don't know if you want to send them out or not. I think it's detrimental myself because it's a very thin market. People may get the wrong idea, and the next thing you know is they're trying to put positions on based off of the math that's like almost non-existent today. So I'm just now roaming through some of the intradays. I think I'm going to put cable up there now. Just take a look at cable on an hourly basis. GBP right there. Yeah, it's a quiet day. We had 8 or 9. I saw 10 in here at one point or another, but it's been thin. Vince has been asking questions, and that's about it. It's been really, really quiet. Let's see how this plays out. Let's just check the amount of time it's going back to. Let's make it 10 days. There we go. So this went into the cell. Where'd it go into the cell? Right there? Right there off of this one right here. Went into the cell there, went back into the buy, then went back into the sell here again. And then, so it closed at 36.81 and fell to, where's the buy at? The buy is there a buy there? It's not a buy there. None of those are buys. It's still in a sell. Still here. So it went into the sell here at 136.81.8, and it's finally trying to close in a hourly buy at 135 from 136.81. So it's about a point and a half. That's a really good gain, isn't it? Oh, that's Friday too. That's Friday. So it's been in the sell there straight down until right here. So that's the action there in the cable, or the British pound against the dollar. Interesting action there. Like I said, I think it's, just looking, knowing the way these charts function on these holidays in the States, they're not the best of things. The only reason you would pay attention to it is if you're a producer and you needed to do something. If you don't have to do something, then you shouldn't do something. As we take a sip of water. Because on these holidays, the markets are so thin, they don't really reflect the real action that's going on. They're just reflecting just a thin market. So it makes me very anti-trade on those, unless you're just fooling around with it on a daily basis. And as you can see here, here's the stock indices. Let's minimize that for a second. And minimize that. That's the Nifty 50. You can see the NASDAQ is trying to lift up, or what we refer to on Dukascopy as the Tech 100 right here. Let's just change that back to the Tech 100. As you can see, the action is really Melrose. It's slow and yucko. And you can see here, the S&P 500 is actually flirting with sell action in a 2,699 contract bar, whereas we use a 336 contract bar in the NASDAQ, and we use 133 in the Russell. And you can see the Russell trying to perk its head up again, and it's actually up 1.4. S&Ps are down 1, and this is up 4.25. So very little action. Very little action. But it's been an interesting swing when you look at the overall from last night. They played it down to 734 last night and drove it back up to, as a matter of fact, if we go like this, started off Sunday night here, ran up, broke down. That's at 34. I think that's the low, right? The low is 27. Then it ran up, made higher lows, and has been doing it ever since. So whatever nervousness they had, they have shaken it off and are now heading into the direction of, okay, we can be long. Well, that might be just outside money needing to hedge themselves. No one's really participating here in the States at the moment unless they're hedging something they need to hedge. And the grains are not moving at all. There's no trades at all for today there, so makes it not worthwhile to really send anything out. You see what I'm saying? I don't want to confuse people. I wouldn't, if they needed something, I don't see any reason not to, but I think it's always a confusion. Maybe the currency traders, and we only have really like one currency trader. I think we have two. So, that's the only other place to, currencies are at least active on some level, but as you can see on our hourly charts, We'll go back to that. Some with the majors. No, not there. There. So you can see with the majors, the there's the hourly chart on cable. It's just fighting its way into a buy. Funny how it did the green dot there. We'll just do a reload there. That's interesting. So it tried to get going and gave us a volatility signal, and then it gave us a green dot, but it was down, still minus. And now this whole combination of the last 3 hours is trying to tell us that it wants to try to make a move up. Or in my case, I would assume that if anything, it's just trying to take a profit from this whole nice slide like they did here. And the only thing is, in this case, doing the same thing with the volatility signal and then going sideways down late at night last night for us in the States. It became a nothing action. A nothing action. How do you like that one? What should we call today? I guess it's a holiday market. I guess that's the best way. I'm trying to think what title we could put this market to today. I think we'll do that. And that's really where we stand. It's a lot of products are not open. They're not the best things to want to try to trade unless you're trapped in something, or you're a producer and you need to do something about it. Holiday, I hear that song. Holiday market. Not to trust. See, holiday market. How do we describe that? I guess that's the best way. Holiday market. Low trust. Let's see this. Value as a holiday market values. Holiday market values. Maybe that? I don't know. I guess that's the best way to describe it. I wouldn't trust it. I wouldn't commit anything to it. And that's why I always say there's three positions. There's longs, there's shorts, and there's neutrals. You can always adjust to one of those, whatever you need it for, depending on if you're speculating or if you are a marketeer and you've got cattle or grains or something like that in a field somewhere, or piggies, and you need to sell them and you need to hedge them for the cost and so forth. Then it's the only time you pay attention to it. All right, traders. We're going to make a run for it. It is a dead time. So this is Doc from North America. Tomorrow the markets are open, wide open, and ready to roar. But today is MLK Day. So it's Martin Luther King Milk Day, as we like to call it. And so do your thing. Think about positive thoughts, and we will catch you tomorrow. Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you, to all our